Champions Cup Saturday games. Going to try and make this quick because it is half time in the Friday games. So, see how we go. First one, Glasgow up against Lyon. This one kind of already has the feeling of a bit of a dead rubber. It's all on Glasgow to try and get a bonus point win here because they are second in their pool on 10 points. So they really want to put a foot forward to make sure they are going to progress. They don't want to be one of those teams who finishes in second and doesn't get to make the cut. I mean, Lyon with no wins, no draws, and 3 losses on no points. It's pretty much done and dusted for them. So when you look at their lineup, it kind of makes sense that there are a few changes. Although, that being said, Glasgow have made 8 changes of their own. I mean, who have we got? Jones and McDowell are in the midfield. Peter Horn shifts to the bench, so I guess he's getting a semi-rest there. Although Hugh Jones is back. I mean, Jones and McDowell, Hugh Jones, so that's kind of a good player to bring in if you're going to bring anybody in. Van der Merwe is not in the matchday 23, so Marawalu is on the left wing. Price is at number 9. It's changes all over the place. Turner's at hooker. Wilson and Gibbons are co-captains for this one from the back row. So some stability and some players moving around, but still, no matter what, it's all on Glasgow just to go out there, do a job, and get a win for Lyon. I suppose some of the guys who perhaps haven't been getting a run do get a run. The only 2 players who returned from last week are Kabeche, the prop, and Palisson in the backs. So all the other starting 15 have changed. Guys like Lambe, Nakatathi, Boxis, these guys are all not even going to be playing. So yeah, it's kind of no surprise that Glasgow are predicted to win this one by a whopping 22 points, I guess. We will see. I mean, you've still got to go out there and do a job. You can't just expect to get the win. But any team coached by Dave Rennie is likely to be pretty motivated. So seems like a straightforward one. Just go out and do the job. But I guess we'll see if Lyon can bring anything to the game. For the next one, Cardiff against Saracens. So all these games are return fixtures from the previous week. It was a pretty high-scoring one last week over in London. So we'll see how things go over in Cardiff. Cardiff with just the 1 win and 2 losses. They're on 4 points in third. Saracens 3 from 3 in their record. So they're in front on that pool on 14 points. I guess Cardiff, I mean, 4 points, you're not dead and buried, but you do need to get a win. And Saracens at top of the pool, a very strong team coming to town, is not going to make life easy for them. But, I mean, they got Lilo and Holo back, so that's kind of good. Anscombe continues his fine work at number 10. Interestingly and importantly, Josh Navidi is back. So, yeah, he's going to be a very welcome addition. I think he's been out for a few months. He definitely missed all the games in November due to his, I think it was a knee injury. So yeah, it's good to have him back. Lloyd Williams is out, so Lewis Jones gets the start at number 9. I guess that's one area where they're being a bit tested. But yeah, I guess we'll see how these guys can bring it. If you look at last week's result, the first half, they did really well. Quick ball, putting Saracens under really a lot of pressure, making life uncomfortable for them. But it was the second half that Saracens just kind of blew them away. So we'll see if we can get more of an 80-minute performance here. For Saracens, George Cruz is back, so Ezekiel moves to the bench. Will Skelton continues his spot in the second row, so he'll be with Cruz there. Earl is at number 8 because Ray is out. It's the same front row, it's the same back 3, so it's largely a pretty stable Saracens squad. And yeah, they will not want to relinquish that top spot to Glasgow, so it'll be one where they definitely want to kind of continue on and keep that perfect run. They are favourites by 11 points according to the bookies. So yeah, that cool pool could be pretty much decided with this week's results. But last week was definitely a week for a few upsets. So we'll see if Cardiff can really, challenge them like they did last week, but for a bit longer than the 40. The next one, Toulouse are hosting Wasps. again, like Saracens, Toulouse doing really well in Champions Cup this year. 3 wins from 3. Wasps yet to record a win, a draw, and 2 losses. So, again, they're another team in a pretty difficult spot. They are 4th in that pool on 3 points, just behind Bath. So, it's looking like a pretty hard road ahead for Wasps, and some of their changes, I guess, kind of reflect that. Toulouse have made a few changes as well, so they've swapped their starting props with their bench props, I guess, give them a bit of a rotation. So Castres and Aldegri get the start. The other 2 guys who started last week are on the bench. Mermoz and Ntamak again swap places, so Ntamak gets the start this week. So, I mean, I guess it's just a bit of squad rotation to keep some of these guys fresh. Yeah, I mean, they're on 3 from 3, so I guess just keep doing what you're doing if you are Toulouse. For Wasps, Sopoaga is on the bench. It's been a bit of focus on him in the media over here, actually, which is it's pretty rare that New Zealand guys get talked about in the media unless they're doing really well or if they're doing poorly. And Sopoaga has certainly had a bit of scrutiny on him for perhaps not living up to the performances we know he can put in. But he's on the bench, so Billy Searle gets a start. Hughes was out injured last week, so Nizam Carr starts in place of him. Johnson gets a start because Cruz is out, so it's a pretty tough road for Wasps with a lot of guys having to be brought in. Rollins moves to the bench. Charlie Matthews gets a start. Again, with all these changes and relative stability in the Toulouse squad, plus being at home, Toulouse are 16-point favourites. So it's going to be a pretty tough ask for Wasps to go across the channel and pick up some points. But, I mean, they've got a fair few talented players, so we'll see if they're able to surprise us. The next one, Leinster against Bath. So Leinster 2nd in their pool on 10 points. Bath, again, 3rd, just ahead of Wasps. So Leinster just that 1 loss. But a fair few Leinster fans not entirely satisfied. I mean, last week was a win. It was a grinding kind of win. But perhaps, you know, a few fans a bit concerned that Leinster probably haven't hit their top gear yet. They certainly showed it in that opening game against Wasps, but since then it hasn't been quite at that same level. So some fans, yeah, would just like to see their team kind of pick things up, as we know they can. Bath performed really well last week, and as some guys mentioned in the comments, you know, a fair few players out for Bath, so they did bring their game up a level last week. We'll see if they're able to do so this week, but it is a pretty tough ask to go away to Leinster. Leinster have got a few changes though. Rob Kearney is out. He's got a knock, so Jordan Lama starts at fullback. I mean, that doesn't make you feel that much better that Lama's at fullback if you're a Bath fan, because whilst he might not be as defensively capable or controlling as Rob Kearney likes to control the game from the back, he is just an offensive machine. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the ball in a bit of space and causes some havoc. Ruddock is on the bench. So the back row is Levy at 6, Van der Fleer at 7, and Conan at 8. Adam Byrne moves on to the wing. Yeah, it's a pretty strong-looking Leinster team. I think it was only 3 changes all up. For Bath, there's still no Byrne, so it's Chudley and Wilson at 9 and 10. Thokanasinger is out, so Cooper Vuna is on the wing. Van Rooyen gets a start this week, so there's a wee bit of rotation going on there as well. Underhill and Lowe were really, really impressive last week in the back row, and they continue on. They definitely stifled a lot of what Leinster were doing, so we'll see if Leinster are able to kind of one-up them again this week when they're at home, because yeah, they were just able to disrupt and yeah, cause all kinds of problems. So Leinster by a whopping 23 points. Is that the biggest one for this week? Yeah, it was Glasgow by 22. So Leinster by 23 is the biggest margin that the bookies are predicting will go down in this set of 5 games. The last one is Castres hosting Munster. So Munster are sitting pretty at the moment, 11 points, top of their pool, undefeated. Castres just the 1 win on 5 points. But Castres have made a fair few changes. I think it was 7 changes all up. They've swapped their front row, so Clerk, Fa'anunu, and Furman get starts. Laveau gets a start. He scored a good try last week. The only 5 points that Castres were able to get right at the end. Cockett gets a start at 9, so perhaps Castres are trying to show us something else, because it was a bit weak last week. Although that game, I didn't see all of it, I only saw the highlights. The commentators kind of gave it a bit of negative publicity by saying it was a bit, what was the word they used? A bit scrappy. From what I saw, Castres didn't seem to really find any pain. It was just Munster eventually breaking them down. But for Munster, I mean, it's good news to have Carberry back. I think it's the first time we're going to see him playing with Conor Murray. So that combination is going to be an important one going forward. We'll see how they can play off each other. Murray was great last week from what I saw, so having Carberry back can only help. I think he was named initially last week, but was eventually pulled out. I think that's the only change. No such luck for Chris Farrell. He was supposed to play last week, but I think he had an injury to his quad. Still not fit for this week. So, yeah, this one is one of the tighter ones on paper. The bookies are saying Munster by 4. So in terms of their pool, I think Munster will definitely be keen to keep on keeping on. If Castres can get a win, then that pool looks a wee bit wider open, because that one doesn't really have that one team which is just running away with it yet, but Munster could be that team if they can get an away win. So, yeah, a fair few interesting looking games. You guys let me know your thoughts on these games. How do you think they're going to go? Do you see any upsets? Do you think the bookies have got it about right, or think it could be closer or perhaps a bit further out than what the bookies are saying? But yeah, should have time to go back and watch these games. 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Yeah, pretty much the same length as the halftime break. All right, I'm back to watch those 2 Friday games. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.